Well, this is an appropriate setting to present Steve Goldstein with the Outstanding Director Award. Since his adventure with internet broadcasting began at a party 12 years ago. During that party, Steve ran into an old buddy at WCCO, Reed Johnson. Reed Johnson said, "I have an idea, Steve. I'd like to put TV news content on the internet and then create a network of websites." He wondered if Steve would be interested in helping out. Steve, who had actually just signed up for AOL.com, says, "I'm in, sure." And the journey began. Since 1977, Steve has been chairman of the board at IB. He is now our institutional memory. He was there when IB, in the very early days, had trouble making payroll. And he was there when IB's headcount soared past 400 employees. He was there when we had the joy of launching major broadcast websites, Hearst Television, Cox Media, McGraw-Hill, Post-Newsweek, and many others. He has guided us through tough economic times and shrinking ad dollars. We are lucky to have a man who, by the way, probably didn't need this job. Remember, he had conquered the radio business. But the risks and the excitement of this digital media was just the job for Steve Goldstein. And lucky for us, our current CEO, David Lebo, calls Steve the rudder, the man guiding the company. Because of Steve's steady hand and vision, IB survived and thrived, and today we are a leader in the digital space. I asked him how he characterizes success for IB, and his answer was typically selfless. He says, "I look at the employees, and past and present, and the professionals that they've become, and when they had the entrepreneur spirit, when they actually didn't think they had it, and they were tough competitors in a market that just does not stop changing." I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for Steve Goldstein. I had the opportunity to join this adventure in 2000 to move from my then secure TV job at WCCO TV and move to the wild, wild west of the web. Steve had the confidence in me to do this job, and he inspired me to march forward and take on this challenge, even though I'm not sure either of us knew what we were getting into. Today, IB's sites total 60, and it is a network. Internet broadcasting is the leading provider of websites, content, and advertising revenue solutions to the largest and most successful media companies in the world. So it worked out, Steve. You did more than help out. In fact, just recently, IB served, and here's one fact, 7.7 terabits of live video data. That's a lot of data to be serving. That is equivalent to one person watching a live video stream for 24 hours for 6 years. Steady. And that, of course, was the Balloon Boy story in Denver. So we wouldn't have been able to do that, Mr. Goldstein, without you. Steve, you never gave up on the idea of the company or any of us. And so on behalf of all the employees at Internet Broadcasting, we want to congratulate you and thank you for all you've done for this well-deserved award.
Hello, everybody. It's just wonderful to be here. And thank you, Nancy. She's very modest. She had a great job at CCO, and it took real vision and courage to jump off the cliff for what was then an emerging opportunity, but she's become a really remarkable manager and one of the key cornerstones of this company. Tonight, I'm also joined by my wife, Mary, and my daughter, Andrea, son, Nick, and daughter-in-law, Katie, and also some folks from the company that I'd like to introduce you to. Jeff Kimball is the Chief Operating Officer, and Jill Hooper, the Vice President of Marketing, who came with David Lebo, who came to us from AOL a couple of years ago. David, appropriately with his family tonight at an event for his son. Also, IB veteran Beth Perlman is here tonight, who has just performed miracles in every million jobs she's had at the IB over the 9 years that she's been there. And also tonight, Steve Johansson, who's the Chief Financial Officer, and his wife, Bethany Brand. And if I can, I'd like to really reminisce on the experiences I've had with Steve Johansson. He and I joined about exactly the same time and had some lessons learned and some extraordinary experiences. Together, we've transitioned 3 CEOs of the company, and I look back and I say, really, unquestionably, the most important function that a board provides is continuity and a transition of leadership, and Steve has actually, as CFO, been the continuity over those years. As Nancy referenced, Steve, I remember sitting across the desk from Steve when we could not make payroll. And we each said, all right, who do you call, who do I call? Because Friday comes very quickly. You have those kind of experiences. It's a combination of panic and purpose. It changes your relationship with people. Also, it was with Steve when we completed the company-making transaction. Really the most significant was with the Hearst Corporation, based on a vision that they actually provided us the opportunity to do web development for their 28 sites and gave us a check for $28 million and gave us 50% of a website that they had no idea would be of any value. And that was really a spectacular moment, and I can close my eyes and see the table we were sitting at. Celebrating also with Steve the remarkable contract with NBC. Nancy had mentioned that included completion of 2 Olympic web experiences for NBC. And it was a contract we knew ultimately would go away, so we squirreled away the millions in profits. And the most complicated, of course, was being able to move on from NBC without essentially the disruption organizationally and financially. And I'm happy to say that transition went quite smoothly. And on and on and on, these experiences that you have with these companies over a 12-year period. And I just wanted to thank Steve for the calm and competent hand that he's provided over the many years that we've had a chance to work together. Steve, I thank you for that. My thanks also to friend and founder and visionary Reed Johnson, who really saw the power of the internet before most people. It was very early on. I mean, really, to be honest, Nancy, my response was, what's a website? In those early days, and AOL was just really a burgeoning opportunity. But he really did know, he desperately knew that ultimately the internet would be the tool of choice for news and information. And if you think about how quickly that transition has been happening, and particularly talk about people who are in the newspaper business, how dramatic, how rapid that transition has been. It takes a visionary. Reed and I went to New York in 1997. We met with CBS. And I'll never forget that meeting. And they turned to us and they said, you know, this is internet. This is just absolutely a fad. They poo-pooed the internet as a core business opportunity, said it would be a diversion, and really were very condescending at that moment. And I also try to wonder, where are they today and what are they doing? But it took courage and it took perseverance, you know, to really go to those meetings with repetition and be able to, as folks did, have the confidence. And of course, the CEO, David Lebo, and the management and staff of IB are wonderful people who really quietly go about their business, as Nancy was describing, as really creating one of the largest distributors of local news on the internet today. And I also am grateful to them for their nomination for this wonderful award. I've always been proud to be a director of internet broadcasting and to serve with the colleagues at Hearst and Post Newsweek, Split Rock Ventures, and CNN. Happily, these are really wonderful people who I find to be incredibly bright, committed, and for me, what's important, highly ethical. As it turns out, I actually look forward to being with them, which is also a really nice thing, given the amount of time and continuity over the years. I believe that serving as a director of a nonprofit or a for-profit company is a noble act. As my fellow recipients, I believe, will attest, it really is hard work and time-consuming to do it right. The risks rather, seem to outweigh the rewards on a very large multiple. People's lives are affected by decisions, and so you better be right more than you're not. And the pace is incredible, given the speed of change and the unforgiving nature of the marketplace. But if you share the vision and you have the opportunity to celebrate with great and exciting people and achieve successes, I really think there can be very few enriching experiences like serving with colleagues on a board. And being a director of internet broadcasting these years has really been quite wonderful, and I really am grateful for the experience. A final thanks to Jay Novak and the folks of Twin Cities Business for creating this award and recognizing the commitment that folks like Paul and Mac and Daryl and Mark have made over the many years to small and medium and large companies whose products and services really do improve the quality of life in our community and employ our neighbors. So thanks very much for including me on the list this year. I'm really grateful.